Hello, and welcome to APP, and welcome to this session on choosing a major and career. Your journey starts here. If you could go ahead and grab a piece of paper and a pencil, because throughout the presentation we'll be doing several different activities that are related to helping you choose a major. You may not leave this session knowing exactly what you want to do, but hopefully you'll know some good steps to get started in the process. Again, we're glad you chose Appalachian, and we look forward to seeing you soon. So just an overview of what we hope to cover during this session. We're going to do some activities, a career exploration profile. We'll talk about your work personality. We will cover how to research careers and work environments. And we'll also talk about the resources that can help you choose a major once you get here to campus as well. So if you have your piece of paper and pencil, we're going to go through a kind of a brainstorm about several different areas: interests, skills, values, and personality. And you can see that this is shaped like a puzzle, because we believe that choosing a major is not just one part of who you are, that it involves all of these areas coming together to help you make a really good decision. Okay, so let's start with, what have you done so far? If you can think about part-time jobs, if you had an internship in high school or community college, were you involved in clubs, organizations? Did you start a club or organization? Sports, music, arts, community service, any kind of ministry or youth activities? All of that could be experience that can help you determine some of your interests and potential skills. So go ahead and jot those down. And as you're thinking about those, think about, what did you enjoy about those activities, and maybe what did you not enjoy? Other interests might include classes that you've taken that were really interesting. And when you jot down those classes, think about what did they entail, what made them interesting. So if you put down English, was it the writing part of English? Was it the literature? Was it just some topic as part of English that was interesting to you? Or maybe see if there is a theme, or there are hands-on classes that you tend to really enjoy. Is there a science theme that's emerging in some of your classes? Or maybe a kind of a social justice issue that came up in classes that you're really interested in. And outside of classes, were there part-time jobs that you really enjoyed? And what was it about those jobs that you liked? Maybe interacting with the public, or if you utilize technology. All of that could be part of your interest. Also include hobbies that you enjoy, and what do you do in your free time? And it could be reading a book, or it could be taking a hike, it could be spending time with animals, it might be volunteering, it might be video games. So all kinds of hobbies could go under there as well. Let's move on to skills. In the skills section, you want to think about what people have told you that you're good at, that you're talented in. And this might be family, friends, or coworkers, or supervisors. Skills are sometimes hard to identify. So you want to think about maybe what have you heard pretty consistently. And this could be artistic. It could be organization skills. It could be the listening skills. You're the person that people consistently come to when they have problems. Or are you the mediator in a group of people? Do you tend to take on leadership roles? We'll look at values next, and we'll also do a value activity a little later on. But for now, put down what is important to you when you think about what shapes kind of your life, or what you hope would shape your work. What are those characteristics that you want to be a part of that? What's important to you? How do you make your decisions? So in a work environment, you may think about characteristics such as being in a group of people, or working more independently, having flexible time, doing multiple tasks, helping people in some way. Could be a value as well. And then outside of work, maybe family or community is a strong value that you have. And with your personality, This can mean if you've taken Myers-Briggs before, MBTI, maybe as part of a high school experience or other, you can jot that down. And if you know what your type means, you could jot those words down as well. But this would be how do you describe yourself? And you might also lean on what other people tend to say about you too, but also just what you know about yourself in terms of your personality. Okay, so let's go to the next page. And on these next few slides, we're going to look at work personality. And I'm going to describe to you 6 different themes. And you can listen and just think about these themes and think about which ones sound like you. So you're looking for 2 to 3 that you think might describe your work personality. The first one is realistic. These are the folks that tend to be the doers. They value hands-on type of work. And this could be hands-on in outdoors, nature, or it could be indoors, like with laboratory equipment. You might be working with plants, animals, but overall, the big picture is they are value hands-on type of work. Investigative. These are folks that are the thinkers and the research problem solvers. They are people that are seeking information, they're curious, they are critical thinkers, and they're persistent in the quest for knowledge about any type of problem or research, often related to science and math, but overall, any kind of topic they may be drawn to researching it. Artistic, these are the creators. These are folks that are drawn to creativity in some form. And the big picture is they are drawn to imagination and being original, thinking outside the box. And this could be related to arts, music, literature, writing, languages, culture, those areas. Anything that requires you to think big picture. Social, these are the helpers. These are folks that are drawn to helping others in some way. It could be through counseling, mentoring, teaching, those helping behaviors, but just in general are described as good listeners, supportive, tactful, and friendly. Enterprising, these are the persuaders. These are people that want to motivate, influence, or lead others in some way. They're often good with verbal communication, have good energy, and may be drawn to being competitive as well. Conventional, these are the organizers. And these are people that are drawn to organizing data, information, technology, office management tasks. They are drawn to streamlining information. They're often organized, dependable, and sometimes quiet. So now that you've thought about your 3 themes and jotted down some information about them, let's look to see how this can be meaningful. So for me, I'm social, artistic, and enterprising in that order. So at the end of the day, I'm a helper. So that's what I do every day. I help others in some way. But a part of that is also being creative in the work that I do, thinking big picture and outside the box. I'm also drawn to creativity in other types of forms too, such as music and art. But as part of my work, that creativity comes out in helping people think creatively about what they do. Okay? And then the enterprising piece for me comes in with being kind of having an entrepreneur spirit, enjoying being independent and working with others, and being a leader as part of my work as well. So the 3 themes come together in that way. And you can come up with a similar type of statement, even if you don't know exactly what it is that you want to do. You may know some of those characteristics that you want to be a part of your work. So based on the themes that you jotted down, go ahead and write down some words and phrases, either from the profile you did at the beginning or from the themes when you heard some of those words. What were the words that stood out to you? And you can use that to fill in some of the spaces here. So take just a couple of minutes and do that. So I am, if you are realistic, you might say, I'm a doer, or I am drawn to hands-on work, even if you don't know what that is. And I want to, and what's that action you want to achieve? I want to design. And then who's going to benefit from that? Do you want to design buildings, farmhouses, all kinds of different things, cars. There may be an interest there that comes out, and you may not know what you want to, how that design will come out, and you can think about that. And what kind of work environment? This might be related to some of the values that you jotted down too, and also those values that you heard come out about those themes. Okay, so we're going to do one more value activity. I want you to think about a scenario. You're single, you just graduated from college, and you're packing to leave for your first job. You have 4 job offers. So congratulations to you. That's exciting. And you have these 4 different opportunities. And think about which one you think you would be drawn to the most. You have a well-paying position in a large corporation, a nonprofit or community service organization, public service or government job, or seasonal work that's maybe location-based. Think like Aspen Ski Resort. Okay, which one would you choose and why? If you were more drawn to the well-paying position in large corporation, perhaps some of the reasons might be upward mobility, the ability to maybe be in that real professional, what you see as a real professional kind of setting where you're dressing up each day and going to a large office or building in a city. That may come to your mind. Nonprofit community service, NGO, maybe you're drawn to that helping others in some way. Maybe you're drawn to social justice and giving back, working as part of a team that's working towards a mission. Public service and government, perhaps you're drawn to the benefits and potential security in those areas, and getting into a government type of setting where you're working towards the community good. And that seasonal work that's location-based may really be based on where you live and work and where you do that work, or based on the ability to kind of be part of that gig economy where you change jobs seasonally. And that may be particularly appealing if you're right out of college and don't want to commit just yet to one type of job. So you can jot down some of those reasons of why you picked the one that you did, and that might be part of your values. We're going to go in now for some of our online resources for career research. And we'll touch on those 6 themes that we looked at as we go through this, and what those mean in terms of major. And we'll look at also ways that you can find career information for different job titles. And we'll also look at the academic piece of choosing a major as well. First of all, let's look at this page. It's the careers.appstate.edu/discover if you want to jot that down. And on this page, you are able to select any of those themes. They're all hyperlinked, and you'll get a page that looks like this. This is going to give you descriptive words about the theme. It will give you related career titles, where realistic people often work, and this will also give you the majors that relate to the realistic theme. I would recommend taking a look at all 3 of your themes and then deciding, okay, which one really sounds more like me based on the majors. But if you have a second one that's really close, maybe look at major and minor combinations, or how do you combine realistic and, let's say, social? What might that look like? So for example, you're doing environmental education or something like that, where you're doing hands-on work, but also in a helping kind of setting. That might be one way that you combine those 2 themes together. So you want to think creatively about your themes and what they mean and how you bridge different interests together. This next page is careers.appstate.edu/careers in my major. And this page will give you information for every major at App. And that information is going to include related career titles, places where App students have interned, and also employment opportunities for majors. So this can be particularly helpful for those majors where you're not quite sure what all you do within that field. So some of those more liberal arts majors, sometimes people will ask, well, where do you go with your English degree or your psychology undergraduate degree? So that can be really helpful for that, to see those opportunities. Another great resource is called onetonline.org. And on this site, you can look up career titles by keyword, also by industry. And you can also look up job titles by growth, bright outlook. And so, for example, here we have social and community service managers, and you can see it gives you an overview, related career titles, and then you can look at tasks for the work too. All of these hyperlinked areas will give you salary and then just a wealth of information, educational requirements as well. You can also discover careers related to your interest and work personality. If you go to advanced search and then select interest, that will let you put in the themes of your work personality and see what kinds of career titles match that. Okay, and finally, let's talk about the bulletin.appstate.edu. We've talked a lot about interest and values and how those come together. We really have to touch on skills as well. So as you think about the academic requirements for majors, you want to make sure you're well aware of what those are, especially the ones that seem to be very popular that students get concerned about would be the math and science requirements for majors. So I encourage you for each major that you're considering to look at that and to think about your skill set in that area. And if that's an area that you may need extra support in, and that's okay. It doesn't have to be a skill that you naturally had in high school, such as if science isn't naturally what comes to you. Sometimes college can look different depending on the way it's taught and that you may relate to as a student. So not necessarily saying to let go of the majors that have a strong base in an area that's not your strongest, but you definitely want to keep that in mind and think about it as you move forward with thinking about different majors. Okay, and you can go to the undergraduate bulletin, and that's going to give you the major and minor requirements for the areas, the academic areas that Appalachian has to offer. So that's a great place to start to do an overview of course requirements. The other thing I would say there is if you're looking through those course requirements and that kind of gut reaction of, 70% of these do not sound interesting to me, that might be a clue that that's not a good fit for you. And it may just be that you don't know about it either because you've never taken the class. So that's not necessarily a reason to always discard it. But if you look at it and you truly have that reaction of that's not a good fit, then probably there could be some accuracy in that. But if you're looking at it and it's 75% or so sound interesting, then that could be one to keep on your list. Now, if there are some classes on there that maybe 25% don't sound interesting, that's common. You're not going to love every single class that you take as part of your major. So you have to remember that as well. And the reason that you don't like classes could be for a variety of reasons. It could be the teaching style. It could be that this is a part of the major that's not most intriguing to you. So you want to keep in mind that you may not love every part of your major, but you want to like a good deal of it. And you also want to like and look forward to what it may lead you to. Okay, and let's take a look at Handshake. This is our online system for researching, looking at internships, jobs, part-time jobs. This is also where you will schedule career counseling appointments with your career coach. Once you get here to App, you should have access to this now as an admitted App State student. And you can use this tool now to be able to log in and learn more information about what is out there currently. And you may also use it to look for part-time jobs. Let me show you an example. Let's say that you're still figuring out your major, but you have this real interest in video. And what might that look like? You can go to job search and put in a keyword for video. And on the side, it will give you different places that you could do this kind of work. So for example, we see a video production internship with Georgia Aquarium. Well, what a cool way to maybe combine interest in video and maybe animals. And if you click on it, it gives you more information about Georgia Aquarium and what the internship is about. One of the common questions I hear is, what if I'm interested in everything? So if you have multiple interests and you're trying to bridge those together, there could be some creative ways to do those. So think of your major as a foundation that might connect you to multiple experiences. For example, you might add a minor to that major that ties in a unique interest or maybe ties in a different skill set. Sometimes people will use that with a language minor or a minor that's just kind of different. For example, there's an animal studies minor at ASU. And so that could, you might have a foundation in, let's say you might like a psychology area, but bridge in a minor that brings in just a little bit different interest or skill. But you want to make sure that it does fit with your academic plan. And that's where you'll work with your advisor to see what that looks like as you plan out your time at ASU. You want to think about concentrations within majors, particularly those liberal arts. Communications also has multiple concentration areas. And so, for example, psychology has very different concentrations that might allow you to bridge in or bring in different types of classes that are part of that. And sociology is the same way. Anthropology, some of those majors have different concentrations. So I encourage you, if you're thinking about those areas, to look into that. The other one to think about, if you're business, there are multiple business degrees, and those could be based on skill set. Some of them focus more on technology. Some focus more on social media and digital presence. Some focus more on management, but it could be in a logistical kind of management or also in hospitality kind of management. Some focus more on those data and numbers like finance, economics, those areas. So become familiar with what is offered. The other way might be to obtain an internship, a part-time job, or a leadership position in interest areas. So if you major in political science, maybe you do an internship within a local government kind of setting where you're working with a town planner or something like that, where you're bridging together different interest areas. Or maybe you're political science and you obtain a leadership position with an environmental organization, and that helps you bridge your interest in government and the environment together. So those are some ways to think creatively about what you do. Okay, and here are some examples of how you might do that. Psychology and the arts. Your psychology and human service, and then you do a part-time job with Turchin Center for Visual Arts, which is on campus at ASU. You may have a management degree with a minor in sustainable development, and then you're president of Environmental Education Club. A BA in English with a fundraising grant writing intern with a nonprofit organization might help you combine English and community service. Okay. And if you don't know what your interests are, here are some steps to begin to think about that. Do your general education plan. You might look at the themes and start with coursework you enjoyed in high school to identify themes. And use the activities from the presentation to explore interests. It may just be that you identified 1 to 2 interests. That's a starting point, okay? And whatever that might be. Well, I like to read in my free time. Well, what does that look like? Or I like to write in my free time. Maybe look at some of those majors that are writing intensive, and there are more than just English to be able to be writing intensive. Communication, English, anthropology. I mean, most majors are going to have a writing component, but if writing is something you love, then think about what that looks like. And there's also ways to get experience writing through campus activities as well. So that's just one example. You might join a club or organization that helps you develop other kinds of interest. Part-time jobs are a great way to develop interest and skills. And talking with people about what they do, about what their interests are in their career paths. Learn about different career options. You're coming into this just with potentially little knowledge about the world of work, and that's okay. Most high school students have not been exposed to that, or community college students, and this is the time to become exposed to what is out there and what your options are. Going into what resources you have once you get here. So this is showing you a page for Focus 2, one of the career self-assessments that we offer. And you are able to take that as an ASU student and work with a career coach to get your results and talk about what those mean. Okay, and you see on this page, it's going to give you your Holland theme. So you answer questions and get the theme that we looked at originally, and it will tell you the types of majors and jobs that go along with that. And it gives you a wealth of information related to the career titles. You're able to see salary, job outlook, what people do, and that kind of work. And you also have future access to be able to go back in and look at this as often as you want. Another assessment that we offer that digs a little deeper is strong interest inventory, and we offer this for students who, if focus maybe felt a little broad and you want to take something that digs deeper, this is one that is very good for that. Again, it's giving you those themes that we talked about earlier, but it's also showing you what kinds of jobs and majors relate to those themes. In conclusion, just know that you have people here to help you along the way. You have career coaches here. I hope that this information has been helpful to get you started on choosing a major and career, and some homework that you can maybe work on this summer before you get here. And also, if you get here and you want to reach out and schedule those appointments, you want to do that via Handshake, appstate.joinhandshake.edu. And that's the way to get connected with us early on. And also using the resources, the websites that we talked about during the presentation. So thank you for joining today, and I wish you the best of luck on your journey at ESU.